Everybody needs someone beside them, shining like a lighthouse from the sea. Brother, let me be your shelter, never leave you all alone. I can be the one you call when you're low. Brother, let me be your fortress when the night winds are driving on. Be the one to light the way, bring you home.
And Carol, I know there's a story about how the pantry started, so let's hear it.
Yes, it's a very touching story. I was serving on the altar back in 2003 at a Thanksgiving Eve service. And I happened to notice in the back of the church, Deacon Dennis was handing a bag of groceries to a gentleman that had come in. And all of a sudden I thought, wow, do we have a food pantry? And he said, no, we don't. He said, I was just able to scrounge up enough canned goods to give to the gentleman. And I said, well, possibly we could work together and establish a food pantry, because if there's one person coming into the church needing food, there must be others outside. And so we worked on it together, established a small little room in the parish hall building, and we stocked it with shelves and let the word out. And a lot of our parishioners donated monetary funds and food items. And there were times where we didn't know if we were going to be able to survive as a food pantry. The shelves would get very bare. Our funds were very, very low. And then all of a sudden, somebody would come in through the door with a check. A lot of anonymous donors would come forward. And that was very touching.
What do you consider your greatest accomplishment during your time there as director?
I would have to say that the family of Calvary Episcopal Church and our connection with the outreach community, just bringing everybody together to see the needs and being able to provide the needs for these people.
And I'd like to ask you today, Harvey, what inspired you to take over the directorship?
I strongly believe that the food pantry was a calling from God that inspired and drove some highly motivated, loyal followers from our church to build. And I myself was inspired by that and devoted 5 years of my life, like a full-time job, to help make it work.
Harvey, I wanted to ask you about what you feel you're most proud of as an accomplishment for being the director of the food pantry during your tenure.
Just naming the food pantry, the Beach Community Food Pantry, was important. Also, I'm enormously proud of it, but I truly believe that do give food from the heart, and that is on our sign.
And on a personal note, it has been brought to my attention that you still come to the food pantry on occasion and visit with the patrons, and you offer them a little blessing and a token. Tell me about that.
I don't come here regularly, and that's the best part, because when you're really working, you've got a schedule. You got to be at a certain time. I come when the mood strikes me, or I still have food in two different condominiums, and they fill up baskets, and I bring them. So I do come here on those occasions to empty out the baskets. More than once, I see people standing outside, and I would talk to them. I tell them a few jokes, and sometimes they tell me they've heard that before, and I'm always looking for new material.
We're talking to Chuck Pond, who was a former director of the food pantry. And how did you get started at the food pantry, Chuck?
Well, Harvey came to me one day. I don't know if I was his first choice or maybe third or fourth, but he asked if I would be involved in helping to manage the food pantry. So I said, well, tell me a little bit about what you have in mind, and he did. That's what happened. I said, well, Harvey, I think I would like to do that. So I was in charge of the personnel, making sure that we had the people in the pantry when they're supposed to be, and trying to keep them happy and so forth. So That's how I got involved. Harvey had asked me to do it, and I said that I'd be happy to do it. I think probably the other part of this is we serve people that are needing food and needing the service. We also provide a way for very generous people in our community to fulfill their need to help others. And I found that very rewarding. The other thing that I found very rewarding was getting the community involved. Um, we got Rotary involved, we got the Indian Rocks Homeowners Association involved, and being able to stand up in front of those groups and thank them is truly a rewarding experience and a growth experience for me.
And what would you say is your greatest accomplishment from your time as the director of the pantry?
I enjoyed getting the people there and making sure they were there. I would show up every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday to make sure the people were there and trying to keep them happy.
What can you tell me that's on the horizon for the future of the Beach Community Food Pantry?
Well, right now, as of today, we are serving 800 people a month. We've grown so much every year. We want to be able to keep um, serving them and giving them more fresh items. And they can have a couple meals that they don't have to worry about. And we feed all people. We have no. They don't have to tell us anything about them. No requirements. If they're here to get food, we're here to help them. That's all our care. Our mission is to help them when they need it. And if that's what they're here for, that's what we're here to do.
I also know that you have also been able to start feeding the people's dogs and cats. Can you tell me something about your
Sure.
relationship here with this organization, All Pets Kitchen?
People that have pets, the children are happier, they're more responsible, and it keeps the family happy and keeps them together more. We are hoping to be able to give each one of our pets 2 weeks worth of pet food at a time.
I also understand that you got a grant from the diocese this past year and you were able to make some changes with the pantry.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
With that grant, we were able to supply 2 large, like restaurant size freezers and refrigerators. We can fit 2 more sizes of food in there.
What fulfills you most about being the director?
I believe in doing God's work. And to me, I believe I feel like I'm an extension of God's arms, His work. I'm able to feed His poor.